whether it's astrology, human design, or gene keys, you can learn about it forever, and you can go deep, deep, deep.
Hi, we have Jennifer Klein, who I'm meeting for the first time here, of Aligned Soul Wellness, and I believe from reading your Instagram that you are just as much of a gene key nerd as I am, maybe even more so, and human design and astrology. And so it was a cool synchronicity that we are coming together today. About 4 weeks ago, I had a YouTube subscriber message on one of my gene key contemplations, like, do you have your chart anywhere for me to see? Like, I'm so interested. And it inspired me to say, you know what, maybe I should just talk to my chart, because I've never done that before. But I wasn't sure how to talk to it. Like, I mean, I can, but then I met you through Deidre, who I interviewed a few weeks ago, and I saw that this is your jam, this is what you do. So how cool would it be to have somebody else speak to my chart and energy? And yeah, the synchronicity is that you are planning on doing a podcast where you do this kind of thing. So this feels like a fun kickoff and synchronicity. I just want to welcome you here to Flow Network. And I'd love to hear, you know, as we step into this conversation, what feels really alive for you.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's nice to meet you, Sarah. Fellow Scorpio. So
yes,
that was our first kind of connection, just being Scorpios. And that's the fun of like learning different people's, their energy type and their archetype, the energy that they have, that they're move through this world and all the experiences they have. And I mean, really, like, this all began like probably in my 20s, when I just wanted to know more about myself. So I dabbled a little bit in astrology, and it's just evolved over time, finding the human design and the gene keys the last 10 years. And then the last 5 years, I just started exploring other people's charts to learn more about myself. And it was so fascinating. And I'm like, I just was so connected to it. And it just has devolved into, because I was a body worker, so I've worked on the physical body for over 20 years. And so adding this energetic component in to learn about people and how you can just help people align more with who they are is so important. It's almost more important than any hands-on healing you could ever do.
Yeah, I agree. I've had the similar path of first really being drawn to the body and doing body work for myself so I could feel good in the world, and going on the entrepreneurial journey and, you know, dabbling a little bit to learn about myself, as well as just come to this conclusion that, like, our body is our business and our business is our body. Like, how we show up in our body, how aligned it is within, is like how successful we can be out in our life, whether that's business or our relationships. So I love that connection as well. You kind of touched on it a little bit already, but what do you love most about reading charts for people?
I love that we're all part of the collective. We're all connected together, and that we all have special gifts. And so even though there's like these 64 archetypes or 64 gene keys, 64 gates, whatever you want to call them, within those gifts is even more specific gifts of your energy. So really, we share different gifts with people, but no one is the same. And so if you align with your personal gifts, that's the number one way to help other people in the collective.
Totally.
And so just getting more people to say, you know, this is what you're here to do. This is your purpose. This is so exciting. And I have a lot of fire, like when it comes into like my Mars and my passion and things. And, you know, growing up, you know, I put that in so many other different things. And then later in life, I'm like, you know, I feel like this is what I was made to do. Just collectively help people. My main gene key is key 44, which is synarchy. So living in a synarchy versus like a hierarchy type of world, and where it's teamwork and we all
Yes.
interlace and work together, and that's where these gifts are. And I think ever since I embraced that's within me, it just like it was like a domino effect of like whatever, finding human garage, finding, people that are like you say, your vibe tribe. And when we're talking about like gene keys, especially like key 44, you talk about these fractals, and there's these fractal lines, and there's 3 fractal lines, and we're all humans like are on, you're on one of these fractal lines. And then we're just trying to find out fractal lines like our whole life, like these
our
people.
Fractal families. I'm glad you brought human garage, because that was the connection of how we met in community. And I feel like I was fractally drawn to the logo and Gary and human garage. There was just like, because I had done body work and taught classes, yoga and stuff for 15 years, 10 years ago. And I wasn't thinking I would teach classes again. So when I signed up to become a coach, I was like, this doesn't make sense. But I was drawn, like, I believe, through that fractal. And it was the same for me. I loved the Synarchy when I read that with Richard Rudd, because I had this vision about 10 years ago just come into me. It felt massive, which is flow network. And I didn't have the language, the beautiful language that Richard Rudd has with the Synarchy. And also just the connecting of the fractals. I think he mentions, I'm not sure if it's in 44, of like the business, the education piece, and our families as well, but that being a part of the vision. And going back to like what you said about we all are so different, like we've sort of been conditioned to think we're a little bit homogenized, and we're not that different. But these gene keys and human design and all of that just gets into such those nuances. And I feel like it's so important to have people like yourself who've been diving into this and exploring and all the nuances, and be able to help people see, like, I like to think of it as like a puzzle piece, the edges of their puzzle piece. And then it's one thing when you're doing it alone or you just receive it, you're like in isolation in your own world and you're sort of like figuring that out. But then when we come together in community with our fractals, it's like having somebody be able to tell the story of like, oh, this is where you connect. And like it's almost like another layer when we come together in community to really see how we all fit. It's like, oh, I thought I had to do that part alone, but actually there's somebody over here who's like better at that than I am. And so yeah, I just feel it's so important. So it's so alive for me to have this conversation now with somebody like you, like 10 years with the gene keys and just living it your whole life. So we're going to dive into my chart, not just to do like a reading for me and to like, a little bit about who I am, but more I really want to have the intention for people to see who you are and how you work with someone and read their energy and their charts and bring that all together. So yeah, it's almost like people are really going to get to sit into a live reading and see you.
Yeah. And Sarah and I just met, so I don't really know her.
Yeah,
that's almost more fun to read someone's charts before you meet them. So I on Instagram and social media and through YouTube, I've watched some of your videos, and so I kind of starting to get a feel of like this flow network and how maybe it became a little bit. I don't know at all, but and so now it's interesting looking at all your charts, and what you're doing or what you're wanting to do makes so much sense and is aligned so much with why your energy. So it's so and that's the beautiful part. And so in the podcast, that's my hope, is to really interview people who already are doing whatever we say, their work in the world, making an impact, challenging, doing these different things for people to be whole, to be well. And and then just kind of dissecting and being like, well, let's look at your energetic blueprint, some people call it. And it's just, and you'll just see these synchronicities that they had to go all through all these things to get there. But they're really sitting in their gifting, and that's why they're making such an impact in the world. So if we all do that, we all can make an impact where we're supposed to.
Yeah.
So that's what's fun. Beautiful.
Totally. Is there anything more you want to share before we dive in?
I don't think so. So yeah, when you reached out, and then right away I'm just like, when's your birthday?
Oh yeah, it was so cool because you
from Gary, right, from Human Garage. He's just like, when's your birthday?
Yeah, exactly. That's the first thing he goes to. It's so funny because I was in Mexico at the immersion, and it was I've been in hermit mode for like 4 years. Like, it's been a long time. I started this big vision, and I was out, and because I'm a 2-4, as you know, in the human design. Right. So I was the networker like crazy my whole adult life, and then I did the pendulum swing into the hermit. So going into the Human Garage in Mexico was my first time being around people in like a long time. So I was a little bit nervous about it. And, Gary right away is asking whatever, finds out I'm a projector. And then a little bit later in the day, he's like, I'm just waiting on the outside as people are gathering. And he's like, oh yeah, she's a projector. She needs to be invited. And it was like this moment of like, oh my gosh, like to be around people who, can see that and honor that is just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so one of the services I offer, so I do personal alignment with people like what we'll kind of do now, but another service is business and group alignment, because in families, it doesn't matter who the group is, but when you know your energetic blueprint or design, it changes everything. Your relationships are better. If you're in a business, you work better together. You see these different perspectives that, or how people process. Some people process slow. Some people are instant. Their intuition. And it's so, like, even in my own family, it's like, I've learned so much of, like, why I am who I am today. Because there's conditioning that comes in, of course. Right. And then just saying, okay, well, some of these are learned behaviors and patterns, and some I was born with energetically, and then some of them are just where I'm supposed to be. And so we're all trying to find that. And so when you reached out and you gave me your birthday right away, it's like, she's a Scorpio. I was like, I'm a Scorpio too. So just that in itself is super fun.
Yeah, especially because it was like the stellium aspect of it, like having so many planets as well.
Right. You have 4 in Scorpio, and I think I have 3.
Yeah.
And so, what does that mean? I mean, you don't have to. So just to like preface, so most people know astrology. It's been around for a long time. Is one way to look kind of at your energy of the moment you were born, right? Looking through planets and luminaries and all that. Then there's a system that was developed. You maybe even know the date better than I, when human design was developed.
No, I can't 80s, remember right? The date. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And then, so this is basically taking astrology and then merging it with this system called the I Ching, which is this 64 archetype system. It's very ancient. And so they like overlap these charts on top of one another. And so we'll talk a little bit about that with you. And then this third kind of another evolved system, like the newest, would be this gene keys, which was a specific transmission that came through Richard Rudd. And he was trained and learned in the human design. So this, I just say it's like another step of adding in really your genetics, psychology. And so it's like, so each system is getting more specific into who your real specific gifting. That's how I look at it. And so it's all relevant. It's all good. It's all energy. It's really all the same. It's just different ways to understand. Like some people, they know a lot about gene keys and they don't know that much about human design, but they're really the same. right? It's just sometimes they're like, even in the education system, like, I learn better this way than or how you
Yeah.
present the information in a linear way versus a non-linear way. So
Yes, exactly.
yeah, so those are kind of what we'll look at today. And just starting out, you being this Scorpio energy, so 70% of our energy is our sun sign. So you'll hear from some very wise people that have looked at astrology and some of these other charting systems for way longer than me that would be more experts. But it's interesting to know you're a little bit of everything. I mean, it's all energy, but but you start with this broader energy of your sun sign, which really is 70% of your energy. So embracing that to begin with is really an important foundation, I think. So so Scorpio, as we know, the scorpion, and very much all about transformation. And so if you're a Scorpio, you're either over here or you're over here. It's very much the dark and light. It's very much duality. It's all this this kind of archetypal, or really like transmuting type of energy. And what's cool is you're a 20 degree. And so 20 degrees, like all the 20 degrees people that I've met or done charts, it really stands for this ability to hold space for a group of people. I don't know how you feel about that, but in the step system, which is this called the Serious Joy step system, which was created by Chris Witecki. So it's his own system for looking at these degree numbers that are in your charts. And you use, so a 20, we would add the 2 and 0 together to get a net number. So it's 2 for you. So 2 is Cancer, I feel. So, and when you're in this Cancer energy, it's not only that you're like sensitive, emotional, like person, but again, you put that 0, which is Scorpio, that 0 behind it, which is protection, is you're protecting the emotions, the feelings of any container that you are in. So I love everyone, but I love 20 degree people because they, another woman that I work with that has this, it's called the B Flow Collective, which is a community of people. And so there's 2 women that run it, and one happens to be a Cancer, and one happens to be an Aquarius. And the Aquarius is a 20 degree, and she very much, and she's a projector, so, and she very much holds the space for that group. And then the other woman, who is 11 degree Cancer, is very much this more physical earth structure, and is a manifesting generator. And to them together, it's really beautiful how they have this community. So that's the first thing I would kind of say about you, is they have this ability to we all can hold space for people, but to hold it for groups is a special thing.
Cool.
So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, that lands for sure. Especially just, I find myself in groups previously, often as I was a fitness instructor, and I would lead workshops and that kind of thing. But even when I was building initially the network, before it was called something different, I find in what you said that I feel the whole group, and I hold space for everything going on, and then give I guess I can give language to what I feel for the whole group. And I think in the shadow side, it would be like not wanting to hold the tension that I would feel sometimes, and then I would try to create harmony in the group. And now that I've kind of gone through more of my deconditioning, it's just holding the space and watching the harmony, or not, like being okay with it not always being harmonious, and
Right.
letting things play out.
So like being a mediator versus someone that's just holding and watching and observing. And
yeah.
Scorpios are the greatest observers.
Hmm.
And so, of course, it depends on what kind of degree Scorpio you are, but they're always sitting back, observing and watching. And they're sometimes they can be known as like, I remember growing up, like maybe more in like in high school, like I would talk to someone and they'd be like, "Oh, that didn't know me," and they're just like, "Oh, I thought you didn't like me." And I was like, I don't even know you. Like, we've never even talked. And it's just this energy of, if you're not a talkative person or you're kind of just observing that, people kind of presume that, the Scorpios are disconnected or something.
Yeah. Or that we don't feel, but I do feel so deeply. And yeah, I'm thinking of another scenario, like when I was younger, you just see everything. And then I would just like blurt it out, like thinking it was obvious, like everybody can see this. And then I remember it was a sister of one of my old boyfriends, and she was like, "How did you know all of that?" Like she was just kind of like, it took her so by surprise. And I've been learning not to say as much, like I think, especially as a projector, if I'm not invited to share. That was some of my deeper learning. And it's really cool because I've sort of observed the change of just my energy can change, like without saying anything. If I just witness in that loving space, I can witness things just changing without me even having to say a word. And so I've been doing that a lot more and experimenting with that a lot more.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, and just, any archetypes, any whatever sign you are, it doesn't matter. It just the more you learn about the energy of that, the more remembering or wisdom that we feel inside that we can connect to, and we can connect better to others. And yeah, so Scorpios are interesting because they pick up and see everything, because they really are observing, and and whether we're aligned or not aligned, there's can be positive and negative things that come out of some of our experiences, but it really is and Gary from Human Garage would always say, like, if you know a Scorpio, like, don't lie to them because they know you're lying.
Yeah, exactly.
The first time I heard him, I was like, oh yeah, I totally like. And sometimes you wonder, like, do I really know if someone is lying? But I feel like I do a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I was like, not that anyone needs to be called out, but it's just like, the desire of wanting the truth,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had my first business partners with Flow Network, when we met together, they weren't used to having someone that could see them so deeply. They also can see very deeply too. And they just right off the bat, they were like, okay, any of how we used to work with the partners in the past, like, we need to just tell Sarah everything because she sees it all anyway. So let's just be like super upfront. And, and it was it's a beautiful, like you said, to loop back to what you said in the beginning. I understand how powerful it can be when business partners, families obviously can understand, the gifts and that within each other. It just accelerates like our growth exponentially.
Yeah, it sure does.
Mm-hmm.
Makes all the difference sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Well, then we can kind of talk about so your moon. So as you know, our moon is our emotions, or how we emote in the world or relationally with people. So it's really important to understand your moon, because we're all emotional. Humans are emotional beings. And so you have an Aquarius moon, 28 degree. So in the 28 nets to this, we say nets to it like a 10 number, which is this Taurus energy. So it's like a Taurus Aquarius moon. And generally, when we talk about Aquarius moon, is usually can be very disconnected from from emotions, whether it's their own or like being able to emotionally like connect with others or sharing their emotions with others. But then so the degree is very interesting because it's like this little push of energy that can kind of alter a little bit of what your moon is. So being a Taurus being an earth sign, right? Earth, very grounded. Shifts it a little bit where you're probably very grounded in your emotions. Maybe, over time you've had to learn to be able to share them more, but you're very grounded, and you where someone like, if they had a lot of fire in their moon, they would be like more explosive with their emotions. So it's kind of like, can kind of be a little bit disconnected, but also grounded in it. And then, Aquarius energy is all about belonging. So when you feel like you belong or you're connecting with someone, you then share more easily with your emotions.
Yeah, that lands for sure. Yeah. Yeah, my earlier years, I went through a period where I was like, numbing and heart closed sort of, and was not in touch with like anger, which I think is a common thing for people, but it was certainly for me. And now I would definitely say, yeah, I feel it all, and I have a grounding. Like my partner sometimes is like, or other people that don't know me super well are like, don't you ever get bothered by anything? Or, they just, I'm like, no, I experience all the ups and downs like everybody else. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but you have a little bit of the, and that's why Taurus energy is here, is to ground other people's energy. So you probably have a little bit of a ability to do that more than others. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then let's see, I can see my little notes here. Oh yes. And then your rising is Libra, 24-degree Libra, and that number nets to a 6, which is Libra. So again, using this Series Joy kind of system, so that would be like a 6, like a Libra and a Libra. And so we call that a Grand Master energy. So Grand Master Libra. So it's very probably present in a lot of, outwardly, a lot of the stuff that you do is very Libra energy. So, it's that feminine receiving energy. It's all about having balance. And it's very important relationally, these relationships with people. So when we say Grand Master, we just mean, again, having maybe a little more wisdom in the feel of that energy versus someone who doesn't have a lot of Libra in their chart. So connecting to others, I say it comes easy to you, but it's probably very natural.
Yeah. Yeah. Very. Yeah.
Yeah. Like right away. Because it is that, it is the rising. So it's like, it's right away what people feel and see when they're around you.
Yeah. I'm thinking of my partner, because he's never witnessed that within anybody before. We'll just be out at a restaurant and a stranger sits down and it's like, oh, she says, I like your sweater. And then, oh, thanks. And like, that was the connection. And then I'm getting up to leave to say bye. She's like, can I just hug you? She's like, what is happening? I've never seen this. And it just happens all over the place. So that's interesting.
So funny. What is your partner's sign, just for fun?
He's a Virgo. He's a Virgo and a manifesting generator.
Ooh, manifesting generator with projector, and then what did you say? Virgo. So, so my mom was a Virgo. So, I have a brother too that's a Virgo. So sometimes when you grow up around a lot of that energy, you're like, oh, I really know that energy.
Yeah, it's it was like my dad, my sister, my grandma, all Virgos as well. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, an earth sign. So in the step system, it's the top of the system. So it's the most physical form of energy here is Virgo. So they'll feel everything more in their body. They're very grounded. They can be perfectionists. They, they're, but there's just this nurturing. It's great to be around Virgos. It feels so good. It's like they just ground you right to the ground. But they we all have our little caveats and things that we have to work with alignment. But it's a beautiful, such a beautiful Earth energy, the Virgo.
Yeah, it is.
So, and then just seeing like partnerships and people like, we can partner with anyone, but there are some more that they resonate, have a little more resonance.
Yes.
So that's a cool thing that you can do with your gene keys. Look at your attractor key. So I just did a workshop on that to see that resonance of the attractor energy you have with someone. But Scorpio, being water, do really well with Earth energy signs.
Yeah, absolutely. So, definitely the grounding. And we nerded out so hard with the gene keys when we got into like the programming partners and the codon rings and all that kind of stuff, because he has the cross of the sleeping phoenix that we're moving into. Those are his 4 gene keys. And then just with mine, we have like so many, talk about resonance, just connections with the codon rings and the ring of the whirlwind and the ring of union, and it's just so fun to dive into that. And I think like having a workshop where partners can go together and learn about that, it would be phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. It's another, like I call them game changers.
Game for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Like absolute game changer.
And just a side note, so whether it's astrology, human design, or gene keys, you can learn about it forever. And you can go deep, 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 deep. I mean, if you see the Gene Key book, it's like this thick. I have not read it from cover to cover, but I've definitely dove into my own keys. If there's something I didn't understand, I'll start going. And it's like a foreign language at first to a lot of people when you read it, and you're just like, this is interesting. A different way to understand even the energy of like a word. Like these words that they use, these 3 frequencies, the city, this, which is the most evolved state of that key, and then your gift is kind of more in the middle, and then the lower key is your shadow. And so you can really, really go deep. And so I love that, and I urge everyone that is exactly what you should do for yourself. I always say, like, I have like a zoom out perspective, how I look at all of because it's all just energy. And so if you can look at it from that more zoomed out perspective, it's pretty cool, I think. And then you have the opportunity, like, again, to just dive in a little bit more for yourself. So I thought that I think I'm going to try and share.
Yes, please do. Yes.
My screen. To just, let's see if I'm going to do a window. I'm going to bring up your astrology chart quick. All right. And you can see it, right?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay. So if we only look right now at this beautiful circle, there's a circle dial, right? And we just look, okay, there's obviously we got planets and different things within the circle, and then there's these red and blue lines. But what we really want to look at when we're zoomed out is, so if we cut it in half, like this line that goes straight across the circle. So there's like above that line, and then there's below that line. So above that line, we call is things that are known. So things that are conscious. Versus if it's below, it's like the horizon. So below the horizon would be more unconscious energy. Oh. And so just looking at your chart, where do you see all of your stuff?
Yeah, it's like all unconscious.
Right? And so you do have, there's 4 different things above, but most of it is below. So that's kind of, even that in itself you can contemplate, like your life so far, and like, you're probably discovering a lot of these unconscious things now. but like you probably lived more in the conscious. In your Chiron, and your wounding is up there. So you probably experienced that a lot consciously. And then you got your Mars and your Venus. So like, your passion and love and stuff was very conscious, but a lot of other things, it's probably had to evolve over time. So I think just looking at it like that is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And the other thing I point out to people, which I think you can see my cursor on the thing.
Yes, I can.
I'm circling this like it's this like the smaller box, and this is telling you you're out of the 4 elements of energy, so fire, earth, air, and water. It tells you where you have most of your planets. So you can see you have a lot of water and a lot of air, is what most of your planets are in. And then the third one would be your fire. So you got 3 fire ones. And then earth is the least. Although it is your Mars, and Mars again is that your passion and drive to do whatever. So you do have the earth there. So again, not surprising that you have a partner that is an earth sign to add a little bit more
yes,
earth to you.
Yes.
Although over time we do adapt. And sometimes people know, like, I mean, just being outside and understanding that you need that a lot throughout your life can kind of boost up that energy for you. It doesn't always have to come from a person, but you can also look at other relationships you have with people, like, are there mostly fire signs around you, or air or water? And you're going to attract a lot of water because you are a lot of water. But you're going to feel like you really want these earth relationships. And here you said in your family you had a lot of Virgo.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. So I just wanted to bring up the chart quick to just point.
Yeah, cool. I've never heard of I'm not a super familiar with astrology, so that's the first time I heard the top part's conscious and the bottom is unconscious, which makes sense. But that's very cool to see it. A new contemplation for me, for sure.
Yeah, and then so when you're in human design gene keys and you're looking at the keys and you're looking at gates, and in human design they call it, it's like your design are all these gates and your personality are all these gates, and that's unconscious and conscious. So it's the same. That's why I'm saying, like, they're really all the same. They're just presenting it to you in a different way. And like human design gene keys add a little bit more flair of wisdom in there. But I really want people to understand it can be really simple. Because I've taught classes with people that I just don't get it. They went most of their life, they never learned astrology or human design, and so I've learned to shift how I teach to be like, well, no, it's really easy. Like, it's just energy, and there's, so again, that zoomed out perspective of how to look at it. And then, yes, eventually go in deep. But if you start deep, it can be too much or overwhelming. Yeah. Even just like with education, with whatever it is. So yeah, it's fun to do that.
Yeah. I love that.
So I'm excited to get into your human design.
Cool.
Because you are very unique, and you probably know this already.
It's so funny now, like, just the first contemplation, it was like, it was all unconscious to me how unique I was until, maybe 4 years ago, when my business partner started to reflect to me things that I hadn't been reflected before. So I just love that little nuance that you shared about, the unconscious bit. But yes, please continue.
Yes. So in human design, we're really looking at your energy blueprint. So how energy moves in and out of your body. So it's very, very important. It's very important eventually to then know that other people are not like you. So if we're looking at the whole world, approximately 70% of the people in the world are generators or manifesting generators. These are your workers, your doers. They're the energy system. So that's what they're here to do. And so that's the majority of our population. Then after that, it's projectors. So 20% of our population is projectors. Then 9% are manifestors, and 1% are reflectors. So reflectors are the most rare. I have had an opportunity. I have a really good friend who's a reflector, so that's
Cool.
she came into my life for a reason, so I really experienced it full on. And I've only done a few charts of reflectors because they are,
Super rare.
more rare. So if you are around one, in that because that's all they're here to do is, we're all here to be mirrors, but that's all they do is they're just reflecting the environment back to you, everything, and it's fascinating. And so for you, where you fit in there is you are a projector. So we say you're in the more, you're not in the majority of the energy of the world. So you're, already more unique just being this projector. And projectors are here to guide and lead. And so that's what they're here to do. And then there's these things called our authority. And so this is how we really gauge how we're going to make decisions. And so there's whatever. We won't go through all the different authorities, but you have a very rare authority. So this what makes you a very special, as we say, projector. So you are a mental or environmental projector. So that's your authority. So this just came into my view, I've always known about it, but I had never done any charts. And I'm not kidding you, in the last couple months, you're my third now mental projector that I've done a chart for. So that's just showing you that they're a little more rare. So only 1 to 2% of the population have an authority that's this mental projector. And so what that means is you don't have any inner authority within yourself, within your energy, to make a decision. You need your environment or around you to assist with this. So another word they use for mental authority is soundboarding. Probably something you've all naturally did your whole life, but you didn't. And then you read this and you're like, aha, I'm not weird.
Yeah.
I really needed people to soundboard.
Yeah.
So so I don't know if this should come up here. This is your little energy blueprint. Can you see that okay?
Yep. Perfect.
And so I know if you've seen that before. So these are all we call them all the energy centers. And the colored ones mean it's defined energy. And these white ones are open. So most of her body is open to the environment. So energy is like do. So mental projectors will have to have, the crown or the ajna, this third eye, defined, right? And then it's either this and this, or it's the ajna and the throat. So for you, it's the ajna and throat. So very defined in you. This is a very defined energy. So it's all coming from you, right? And so this was what makes you a mental projector, is you have all these thoughts, all this energy in your head, right? And so to make a decision, they need this soundboarding. So they need to be around the right people that they can talk out loud. And this is the key. They don't want you to give them the answer. They just need you to, it's an energy that has to literally bounce off of them and say it, and it bounces back to you and you get direction, right?
Yep.
That's so fascinating to me.
I know. At first when I heard that, I was like, what do you mean I have no inner authority? I didn't like that at all, that idea that I had to soundboard with multiple people and everything. And with my partner now, we talk about this, and he's like, oh, you're soundboarding. I'm like, right. I don't need to give you advice or, something to work through. And it's super helpful when you know that that's what's going on, because it is a different kind of energy. But it's true. It's when I can think about it in my head, but it's not until I express it and I can feel it bounce back that I'm like, oh, actually that feels cool. I like that. Like, and it's because I'm in my environment. So like even for you, when I asked the question, hey, I have this idea. Would you like to do a chat together, and you could look at my chart, or I could feel your excitement about it. And so you, as in my environment, I'm like, oh, that feels great. Let's do it. And it really helped for me too when I heard that it's a mental projector, but the word is also environmental.
Right.
In other words, like I become the environment and the people in that space.
Yes. And that's why it's very important who you're around.
Yes. That's
or you don't make the right decisions, because you're taking on that, even though there's soundboards, they still have their energy as part of.
And that's the really tricky part, because, I mean, if you're around people, which I was, that have their own agendas and they're like, oh, this person's just gonna. I was very much caught in the generator, like didn't know I was a projector in my early days. So it's a bit of an impossible situation, because I just become the others and I want to make them happy. So I'm going to make decisions that are going to make them happy, and, didn't have the awareness about how I feel about it. About that being more of the unconscious stuff. So that's been quite the interesting journey to unravel from all of that and feel my own energy. And like I was gravitated to water. Like it's interesting what you said with all the water in my chart, that I would attract water. So I've lived near water, like right on the edge of water, can almost touch it for the last 7-8 years. And now I literally live on the water in a float home. So this environment has just been the perfect space for me to reset and feel like my essence, and then make decisions from that place.
Yeah. And that's so amazing, because usually that's something we just figure out or know over time. So I have a lot of water as well, and then also being a Scorpio. And since I was a child, I was a swimmer. I was a competitive swimmer. So I lived in the water all the time.
Cool.
And what's interesting is about the time that I didn't, so I went all the way, like childhood, all the way into college, and then kind of started stepping a little more away from it towards the end of college. And this is also when a lot of health issues started happening for me. And even though I was part of the water was kind of toxic, because I lived in chlorine all the time, which was not a good part for me. But I can look back now and say, like, I needed it. It was very nurturing. And even today, like, if I just sit in some water, I'm grounded. I feel nurtured, like I'm this little baby. I feel safe, which we all can feel in water. But like, I didn't realize and see. And now we're directed to, like, I feel great and better when I'm nearby water.
Yeah, I would. And before I lived by it, I was always going. I lived by a lake, so I could, ride my bike down there and just walk along it, meditate it by it. Like, I just knew that I needed to be by water. And the nature aspect, before I had a partner, and during COVID, I would literally spend hours, like 4 or 5 hours, just hanging in a hammock under a tree over water, going out on my step board. It's like, I need this to be able to survive. Yeah.
That's amazing. So cool that you live in a houseboat, right?
It's a float house, so it's a legit house, but it's floating on the Pacific Ocean. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is. It's very cool. Yeah.
So, talking a little bit about some differences now between you and I, and we're Scorpio energy with this water, and so again, you're a projector, and then you have this mental authority, and then over here, I'm a generator. And my authority is sacral, so it's my sacral area down here. So I have a very gut intuition, and it's a yes or a no. So if you're ever around someone and they don't need time to think, there's just like, because their body's like yes, or the body's like no, you're probably around a generator. So it's interesting, because I think because a lot of the world are generators, like you said, like I grew up thinking I was a generator because you're around a lot of generators. You're like, I need to make a decision right away, or like, what do I feel like? And then and that you probably made some decisions that you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have
Yeah,
chosen that.
I like pride myself on being like spontaneous. Like I can make a decision. Like let's just go. Let's do this. Let's do this. Like yeah, let me tell you, I made some decisions that were not
And
healthy
especially if
for
you're
me.
alone and you aren't around the right people, it could take you a while to process and make a decision for certain things. Um, so a little bit different. Just and I have a lot of energy. Projectors have this burst of energy, but then they need to kind of take a break and they get tired more easily. Um, so yeah, just knowing the difference of a generator versus. So I'm here to be a worker. That's what I'm here to do. Work, 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 work. But what I've had to teach a lot of generators is, even though you can do it all, physically, mentally, you're here to do that. You're not meant to do it all. You really have a gifting in like a niche you can really get in and have. You won't get burnt out. You'll have full capacity of that generator energy. So, yeah, so that's a little bit about the difference. Like she's here to guide and lead. I'm here to do the work. My body gives me a sacral yes or no to make decisions. She needs to be around people, the right people, really, to have that soundboarding to help her with that. But a cool thing is you and I have the same profile. So she's a 2-4, and so am I. And, I talk about the profiles kind of like, it's like your personality of your energy. So a 2 is a hermit, and the 4 is the opportunist. So we need to hermit and be alone before we can go out around people and into the world and be this opportunist, networking, great, fun person. And then when we've had enough out there, then we gotta go back and be alone for a while. And so we kind of go back and forth. So someone who does not have a 2, everyone's energy has, it's not like you never need to be alone, because we all need to be alone to some extent. But if you don't have a 2, you really don't need that long period of hermiting away from people. And so that's very interesting to look at the profile. Do you feel like have you always kind of hermited and then?
Yeah, like if only I could go back, and I'd have gone back and told my younger self, like, it's okay to want alone time, because growing up in a family, it wasn't something that was super, like, I don't know, it's like you have to be a part of the family. So if I go to my room, sometimes they go, are you mad? Like, what's wrong? Or why do you like so much alone time? Like it was something that I sort of judged, I think. Like, is there something wrong with me because I like being alone so much? So I think I judged it early on, but definitely, I think I just, before we recorded, pretty much my whole life up until 7 years ago, really, I have to thank COVID for pushing me into my hermit. I was more in the networking, being around people. Like, my pendulum was just like way over here on the 4 networker. And so the last years, 5, 6, 7 years, have been swinging into the hermit. Like, literally, my float home could not be more. I'm like in this indigenous land and surrounded by mountains. It's like 25 minutes to get into town. So this has been such a beautiful thing for my hermit to experience, just being here. But who I
am, and I need it. How wonderful.
Yeah. It's like, I was like, who I am, I need it, and I'm taking the whole year to just be here with no other agenda. Like, that's what I did. So yeah. And I needed to do that for that pendulum swing to go to the other side.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And so another kind of fun thing that I like to point out with profiles with people is depending on whether you're the number that comes first in your profile number, if it's a 1, 2, or a 3, you are more here to transmute your own personal karma.
Mm.
And if you are a 4, 5, or a 6, that's the first number, you're more here to transmute the collective. And I think it really helps because we all have to be aligned with ourselves and know who we are. And so that's always going to be important. But as far as the impact we have on the collective is knowing if it's yours is more a personal, you're more here more personally or more collectively. I think for me has helped a lot to know. I was like, all right, if I'm going to help the collective, which I want to help people. That's why I have always been in the type of work of service and helping others. But I can't do that if I'm not working on my work. There's just no way I can.
So could there be a 4-2 profile? Like the numbers go up?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So can just clarify. So if it's a 2-4, like sorry, I didn't get exactly how you discern if it's for the collective or for your personal.
Okay. So your first number. So we're 2.
Okay.
So our first number is 2. So looking at anyone's numbers, if it's a 1, 2, or a 3 first for that first number, that would be personal. And if so you just said a 4, 2. So a 4, 5, or 6 is the first number.
Okay.
Would be more collective. So.
Okay. So the 2 would be like for us is like personal. It's like we're doing the hermit for our personal selves. Would you interpret it that way? And then the 4 is like I'm connecting with people because like I'm doing this for the collective.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Huh. I didn't know that.
Do you you know your partner's human design?
He is a 1-3.
He's a 1-3. So similar. So 1-3s is an investigator and we could say the martyr. So like I got to research everything and then I got to experience everything. That's like a 1-3. That's a Gary. He's a 1-3.
Oh, Gary's a 1-3 as well.
I'm pretty sure if I recall. But again, because 1 is first, it's a lot of that transmuting your own personal karma in this life kind of a thing. So, and then what kind of energy type did you say he was?
Manifesting generator.
Manifesting generator.
Yeah, with only 2 centers defined as well. Ooh. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, manifesting generator are great because they really are generators. So they have this energy, but they have so many ideas. I mean, you want to meet someone with a lot of ideas besides a manifestor. It's these manifesting generators. It's like, oh yeah, this and this. It's like they just keep coming up with things, and whether you're a manifestor or a manifesting generator, you don't have to do all the things, all the thoughts, all the ideas, but you do have to get them out of you, write them down, give them to someone else, personally pursue them, for the energy to keep
going.
Flowing good.
He has his journal by his side constantly. He's the number of journals he goes through is just crazy. Like it's just like all the time.
So cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, when you see someone in their full, like, embracing a lot of this stuff we talk about, full alignment, whatever you want to call it, it's the most, it's beautiful either way because the journey of getting there is beautiful as well. But it's so, like, I feel like my little inner child is just, like, giggling and laughing because I'm like, yes, you're in your sweet spot. You're doing it.
Yeah.
And that energy just goes out of us into the collective and the world, and I feel like it's felt.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So it's super important.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm curious about your journey with the 2-4, just because we have that similarity. Like, did you know early on, like, I need to hermit, and
I don't think so.
I think
I was like, I want to be doing all the things. I want to be with all the people. And I was like a 3-sport athlete. And so I was like, go, 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 go all the time. And then in my 20s is when I got really sick. I said it's like my first time my body was like, excuse me. Can you slow down and do something else? And then in there I became a mother, and so I had a lot of hard, as we say, these hard lessons, to be like, dude, you need to be alone. And when I started to, and I've gone back and forth, like I do it and then I don't do it, and now I do it a lot more, and I'm like a totally different person. You know, it's just having that time internally to reflect and be by myself, be in my own energy has been super, super helpful.
Yeah, totally. It's a must.
Let's see, what else can we talk about? So the other thing that's fun in human design, that you can tell people, is their cognition, also known as your spidey sense. So out of all your sensory senses that you have, like what is your spidey sense? And so you and I have the same cognition, so that's kind of fun, which is touch. So this is just we all have the senses. It's just, this is your heightened sense. So when you hug someone or you put your hands on someone and touch someone, you get so much information from them, and they get, and they, like, I remember touching this one lady. I would just put my hand on her shoulder, and she's just like, what did you just do? I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I literally just felt like, and she probably is very aware to energy, because if you touch anyone, you can feel their energy. And I was like, oh. And later on, I was like, most of my career has been massage and fascial work and stretching and touch and yoga, and I learned so much about the body and people through touching. And so it was really cool to learn, like, oh, it's kind of like my extra sensory thing that I have that. So what is your feeling on the touch?
Yeah, I have the same experience. I have hug somebody just as I'm leaving a party, and it's like, whoa, what was that? And I was like, but I can feel that she felt the thing, and I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. There's not a lot of time right now. Like, it was like a birthday party, but that just happens. I definitely understand that for sure.
Yeah. So that's really fun learning about that, and you can, like I said, you can crawl in deeper and deeper, and you can learn like what kind of environment you should live in. Like, you should live in the mountains and in a valley and in a dry climate and tropical climate. So you can find that through your human design. So that's super fun. But I kind of wanted to get into here at the end, we won't go through all your keys or anything like that, but we'll look at this, your life's work key, again, which represents your sun sign. So we were talking about astrology, right? And so again, 70% of your energy is your life's work or the sun sign. So knowing it that's a big deal, because that's 70% of your energy here. So it's really, and I think, like I was saying earlier, when I first learned my key and I read it, and I kind of had to go backwards. Like, I got the book and then I read this really in-depth wisdom and information, and I was like, what? It was too much for me. And I kind of got the energy part. Like, there's these three words, and and you be in your gift, and eventually you want to get to the city, and so I had to kind of go away from the book and kind of look generally at what this key was, and it really started to resonate with me, and I was like, oh, I feel that I have that, or that I want that, or I have done it, but then I'm not really in it all the time. And so that's been really fun. So for you, your life's work is key 43. So in human design, we call it the gate of insight. And in Gene Keys, it just takes that energy of the gate of insight and gives you like these three tiered energy kind of things. You have the highest form, which is epiphany, and then the gift is insight, and then the shadow would be deafness. And so I know that you probably know a lot about this key, way more than I do. So what is when you've contemplated and like worked through it, or even just understanding what these maybe words even mean, do you resonate with it, and how do you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the deafness and the shadow for me represents the deafness of my own intuition, and being deafened by the noise of the world, and not honoring like what I feel or what my intuition is, even if it might be something against logic, and learning that I'm safe to listen to myself, and then eventually at the gift it becomes like you're deafening out the noise so that the insight can arise. And I get insights constantly about people, about the world, and it's been a learning of like when to share that and when not to share that, and also recognizing that when I am around somebody else, my aura helps them just have insights on their own, sometimes without me even saying anything. It's just being in proximity allows people to get their own insights. And so when I work with others, it's kind of a dance of allowing that space for them to find their own insights, which I really like. And the city of epiphany, for me, I touch or taste at some points where I just have this experience, especially being here in the nature and the water and my environment. It's just that epiphany of like, we're all one, like we really are all connected. Like I am the bird that just flew by, and the seal down there, and my partner like reflecting to me, and whoever's in my world. Like it's just that epiphany of that body knowingness of our unity. And that's kind of how I feel. Those epiphanies just kind of come over the body sometimes.
Yeah, that's amazing. So when we so looking at like a key, then we have so it's key 43, but then there's usually a point something, right, with another number, which we call the line. And so yours is 43.2. So line 2 says having distinctive ways of thinking that lead to new insights, like a designer who approaches projects from like a different perspective. And so just having that kind of flair of that line, how do you feel that has been in your life, especially with like people, like relationships, but like what you're doing with your work and stuff?
Yeah, I think that I'm reflected when I share, that people often say like, oh, that's exactly what I was thinking, but I didn't really have the words in that way, and that's kind of what's coming to me at first about it. But can you read that again, that one sentence?
Yep. So having distinctive ways of thinking that lead to new insights, like a designer who approaches projects from a different perspective.
Yeah, I think even just with Flow Network.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, like the because it was a vision that came years and years ago, 10 years ago, like before people were doing podcasts, and before people were like it was just way ahead of the time. And a big part of it in the beginning was just educating people on like collaboration and like building something together, what that might look like in community, and using the internet and technologies in those ways was definitely something that I was introducing kind of early on. So I see that design as in like the web of a spider, and just connecting nodes of people and weaving that story together, and offering insights about that through story.
Yeah, definitely. I had something come in and now it just left my brain. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, because really, it's not, you don't call it a podcast. You call it network, right? So, and to other people, they may not think that, oh, big deal, it's not just a word, but a word is energy. Look at it. A word is energy. What you say, matters. And yeah, there's this energy or realms of these podcasts, but it is a new insight. It's a different way to look at it. It's still talking to people. But yeah, it's this, like you said, collaboration, networking. It's like the mycelium, the mushrooms
Exactly.
underneath the ground, the trees. It's like now you're doing it above.
It's like that stuff is always happening, and I love capturing just the flow of it. Like, oh, we just met, and like, let's ride this energy and just see where it goes, and but without defining it or putting it in a
A little more
box. And
organic.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, trying to capture the organic, natural nature in technology and through technology. It's like all this magic is happening offline, and we can sometimes the noise is loud, and especially now in the online spaces a lot more than it was 10 years ago. But just knowing that our energy, like our organic energy, does speak louder than the words we say, than our digital imprint has. And when we come together with that intention, like there's magic that's already happening. Like we don't see all the mycelium underground, but it eventually comes above. And just
Right.
sort of
And
trying
that's
to
what our fascia does. Like
exactly.
we could have a whole nother discussion just about fascia,
Yes.
which is a network within us that extends out into the field. Like, yeah, like all these. So we're more, we are nature. Like we're more that than not that. And so
Yeah,
that's
and
why
we're
it's
all
fun
interconnected, like our whole body, like the fascia. And maybe we'll have another conversation about the fascia by itself, because I like could geek out on that forever too. But it's like, yeah, we're all connected, and then like there's a reason why we're meeting at this time, and like just to like honor that and capture the rawness of it, and the thread of like, okay, there's human garage, and then Deidre, and Deidre was who introduced us, and
yeah.
just life is unfolding, and it's like just capturing that in some little way.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
a photographer capturing moments of,
yeah, of
um,
connection.
or even photography like has changed and now it's very scheduled and like we have to do this, we have to do this instead of organically capturing things. And you're moved a totally different way because when you look at a picture or you watch a movie, there's all these energies that come out of it. And so, um, yeah, photography is a big thing, that a big love that I've had for a long time. And
Cool. That's a good example, because I'm thinking of different photographers that I worked with, and the ones that stage you like to look a certain way, and you have to do the certain
right.
poses, and that
Oh my
just
gosh,
brings
they
out
would
an
drive me. I don't mean it in a
unnatural.
mean way, but that
No.
drives me nuts.
Yeah, like I'm usually a
Yeah, put your
comfortable.
hand up here and do this. I
Yeah.
was like, it's not me. I don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Don't
exactly. It
make
was like
me.
so weird, versus others who can just like put you in your element and just let it be natural. And that's
Yeah,
what I strive to do with this as well. It's like it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it's better like let's be real about it all. Like let's just be real humans as well. And yeah, I love that's a great example with the photography.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to point out two quick other things, and then we
Can we pull up, are you able to pull up the gene key chart just for
your
the
GP.
subscriber that was wanting to see
Oh
that
yes, let's do that.
in full transparency?
All right. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So this is Sarah's gene key chart. Um, so the quickest way I usually explain it is, again, you have keys in in Gene Keys and in human design, they're called gates. All the same energy. And here they organize in a way there are these 3 lines. So you have your activation or your genius line, which is the green circles and arrows. And that's you. That's your gifting. That's why you're here. I believe it's the most important and first thing you really should do, because it's not that you can't learn about the other things and dive into them. You can, absolutely. Because I believe in like everything kind of flows the way it's supposed to. But in the end, you need to know who you are, why you're here, and connect with that energy and resonate with it before you move on relationally or business wise, or like of your job in the world, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of that activation line. And then we have starting from the bottom up, you have the Venus line. So that's the red dots. And the Venus line, that's all about inner child work and relational stuff, and how you're attracted to these relationships. So that's fascinating. And then the pearl sequence is the blue. It's kind of like the triangle on top. And the pearl sequence it's also can be called the prosperity line. It's all about once you get the right flow, right, then we have this prosperity, this abundance, and so connecting to that energy. And so I just actually got done with doing it was a 3-part workshop, and so we did the activation or genius line, we did the Venus line, and then the pearl sequence, and we did them in like 2 or 3 months apart. Cool. And did one at a time. And so I kind of put my own little spin on it, different than like, Richard Rudd and the contemplating of the key and the words in the key. And I very much add in the like different somatic embodiment work. Sometimes it's breathing, sometimes it's fascial maneuvers.
Cool.
Sometimes it's this prosperity one. It was we added in this thing like for 55 days, people are going to listen to this recording I made. And it's like not even very long, like 5 minutes. And the point of being in the energy every day and connecting to their specific like repatterning of what it is for their abundance and stuff. So super fun. And then, so is there anything else specifically you want me to point out on yours? Obviously on the top there's that life's work. We were talking about the 40.2 is your main life's work.
I don't know if there's anything specific other than that's interesting for you, or like maybe if you notice anything about the timing now, like just from your zoomed out perspective of what's unfolding, anything come to you to share?
So I just think it's, again, the activation line is really interesting. So you have this a lot of your energy is this life's work, but then you go down to like your evolution, which is really like what you're here to learn. So that's very impactful to learn. Like, this is what you got to learn when you're here, And then moving over to your radiance is what keeps you healthy. And so, especially if you're going through a lot of physical things, you really want to look at that radiance, because are you doing energetically what you need to feel healthy in the physical body? And then all the way to the bottom is that purpose. And I mean, we know what our purpose energy is. It's something deep within us of why so you have to really know your purpose to be even able to do your life's work. It's really that's why it's kind of, I feel it's like on the bottom, because it's like the most grounded part of your chart. Mm-hmm. And so, nothing is more, it all works together cohesively, the keys. So not one key is more important than the other. I just always point out the life's work being it's on top. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of your divine, up to the divine energy versus your purpose being grounded here, of what your purpose is here. And so those are really fun to explore and to look at, that people can start if they're just starting their kind of gene key journey. And then and if you want to get deep, and you get into the Venus line, and it's fascinating. Like, this attraction key is literally, you're a magnet, and so what's being attracted into your field all the time, like, and you having the 14, that bounteousness, competence is kind of the gift. And then if you ever are compromising somewhere, right, in your life, I would be more being in the shadow of, like, maybe things that aren't being attracted to you as much.
Yeah. More places to compromise myself.
Right. And then you go into, there's the IQ, which is your intelligent quotient. EQ is your emotional quotient. And SQ, spiritual quotient. And then core, which will bring up your core, because that's the other thing I kind of wrote down. Core is your wounding, like your genetic trauma, whatever you want to call it. This core wounding that we all kind of just have when we come in to this body. So going through all those things, so this is literally like before you were born, and then these 7-year cycles, first 7 years, 7 to 14, 14 to 21. And so that's all of who you are. That's all of the, in the psychology world too, of these behaviors, how you're conformed to things you learn, why you do what you do, is in that. And so that's fascinating to kind of pick apart and look at, and really look at these gifts and the Siddhi energy, and sitting in that, and to shift stuff that, like, are not, old belief systems or patterns you just don't need or want anymore.
Yeah. And then, exactly.
Yeah, and then going into, like I said, the pearl sequence, those blue ones, then it's like knowing your core wound is really the service you're supposed to end up doing in the world someday. And so then you look at, like, what is that? And then the culture. So, like, where, like, are you doing collective and more tribal work, or what kind of culture environment? And then into this pearl. The pearl is like the number one thing that blocks us from prosperity. So to know your pearl is super important. So it all moves and floats together. So
yes.
So I'll just quick talk about your vocation and or core, given 2 names, that key, depending if you're looking at it from the Venus line or the prosperity line. But essentially, so yours is this 56.6. So again, there's those 3 words: intoxication, enrichment, distraction. And so this would be what we'd say your deepest core wound is. So this is overcoming the need to escape. So the core wound often involves a feeling of being distracted or disconnected. That's that shadow. Healing is going to come through finding your inner fullness, as we say, and just being present and turning every moment into a sacred event. And I feel like I kind of heard that in a little bit of your story of like where you've lived, and being more a generator versus a projector, and all this kind of energy, and just really being present in this inner fullness.
Yeah.
So what is your feeling on this? Or I'm sure you've probably contemplated this.
Yeah.
So what do you?
Yeah, a lot. I actually, have you done the Star Pearl? The Richard the Star Pearl?
And I know, and then they add like these new flares. And
yeah, there's new ones.
I have to that sometime too.
Yeah. I started that one last year, and so the top triangle was my contemplation for the last 9 months. So that one's been super on my mind, and yeah, being distracted by just other people's problems a lot of the time, and not being able to like work in my own world. And really, that enrichment is the gift. So finding that inner enrichment first, so that I can then be enriching for the others in my world as well. And yeah, yeah, and not being distracted from my own inner world has been the biggest thing for me for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful journey. It's a beautiful journey, and I'm so grateful for the gene keys, like to just provide, I mean, for all of the systems. I resonate the most strongly with the gene keys, but I love the poetry and the wording and the synchronicities
Yeah.
of how I view my world, anyways. So thank you for being here and sharing your passion with all of this. And I wanted to ask, like, what do you listen for when you're reading a chart with someone? What are you listening for something, or what would you say your like inner process is when you're sharing?
I really feel that every chart that I look at is going to first teach me something about myself. So I use it as a teaching for myself, and just getting deeper into like who I am, why I'm here, but how can I better relate with this person or an energy type similar to this person. I think, I take a little time to, I don't like, I take a small amount of time to like kind of just meditate on their charts, just to even energetically connect with them. For you, I was like, I didn't know you. I'm like, well, let me look at some of the stuff she's doing like on YouTube and your Instagram and stuff. And that only tells you so much of someone's world, but there's a lot of energy that comes from how they created and put it out there. And then just going in and then actually seeing the charts, and like if I've ever experienced some of the things that maybe you have experienced because of our difference of energy, because obviously we're Scorpios, but you would be considered a master Scorpio and I'm a baby. I'm a 9 degree, and we're on a 9-degree day today, so that's
how cool.
kind of fun. And we're in Aries, so it's a Grandmaster Aries day today.
I'm a life path number 9, so that's kind of cool too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So again, you use this word like synchronicity. It's like, I think that's what I'm like, what is the energy of synchronicities I have with this person? And then what, through all these other charts of other people, now can I see the synchronicities between them? Because key 44 or gate 44 is also known as like the pattern interrupter. So I'm always looking for patterns of how to explain things, of how we all connect as one, yet we're all separate beings, but really we're all as one. So like just being able to look and see those patterns in that way is like, I use the word fascinating because it is. And I think when you are in your gift, everything is fascinating.
Totally.
This is fascinating. This is so beautiful.
Yeah,
I mean,
you've seen the magic. Yeah. I'm curious if you want to share, was there something that you learned in looking at my chart? Like you were saying that's one of the things you love is like looking at others, because we get to define ourselves a little bit more when we see a reflection in others too.
Yeah.
Did something come up for you?
Well, at first, I'm just grateful to have met you, and that what kind of work your heart wants to do, especially through the Flow Network, I think is amazing. I wrote down, sometimes I kind of, we can use these archetype names to explain an energy. And, I can pick one for you, and it doesn't mean that it would resonate with you. You might pick a different archetype name or whatever. But so I came up, so archetype name that would go along with your key 43 It's called the rebel.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is just some words of wisdom from the rebel. So ultimately, the epiphany is an explosion in the human heart, an openness and acceptance of others, and a divine spirit of friendliness that is at the core of all human beings.
Mm.
And when I found that, I was specifically found that somewhere, it wasn't through me or anything. I just got the chills, and I was just like, I don't know her yet. I haven't met her, but I mean, explosion from our human heart, and this open and acceptance, and you just want to know everything and anything about others, and how we all connect, um, and knowing that we are all one.
Mm-hmm.
And we've never met, so I want to know something about you.
Yeah, and it's such a cool way to get to know someone. Thanks for sharing that. I felt the chills as well as you read that too, so that was really beautiful.
And the rebel can be, all words can feel positive or negative to someone depending on their experience, and they're just like, I don't want to be a rebel. Mm-hmm. Or people are like, yes, I'm the rebel.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's okay to like resonate or not resonate with words, especially in Gene Keys, just these words.
Mm-hmm.
In what I did in one of my workshops, I can't remember. I think it was the very first, was it the Genius line or the Love line? I can't remember. But I actually had them muscle test their own body to find the word. So sometimes you resonate with, so like synarchy or teamwork is, in my key, like, and if my body didn't fully resonate with it, we went through this process of like using an online thesaurus and muscle testing our body. So, and to really get what really resonates with you, because I don't know what your experience was. I don't know.
Right. Totally. And to also just allow ourselves to be curious about a word again. And like we can have like stories or biases or experiences about what a word meant before, and just allowing that definition to totally go away and just explore a word. I love doing that as well. It's one of the reasons I love the Gene Keys. It's like, I was limited in my thinking about this word. So it's very cool. Yeah. We're coming up to our sort of time cutoff. So I wanted to give space for you to just share, if anybody is listening to our conversation and resonates with you and your work, like where can they find you, or what are you offering in your world? Yeah.
So you can find me at my website. So it's my business is Aligned Soul Wellness. So you can go to alignedsoulwellness.com. And so on there, you'll see my like personal like one-on-one services. So I do like the personal alignment. I do something that's called a somatic flow alignment.
Cool.
So part of it is doing the personal alignment, and then part of it is really coming up with your own personal like healing protocol. So if you're going through more physical health things, we find what all works together for you, your blueprint, what you've tried, what you haven't. So we do a lot of testing with the body so that you can get this somatic flow. And then the third service again is this kind of like groups and business alignment. Cool. So learning these energy types and blueprints and how you all work together. And then there's I work with the B Flow Collective. I teach a lot of classes and workshops with them. And as I said that, I don't have a link on my website, so I have to put a link on my website if you want to visit them. And then I'm on Instagram. My handle is Jens_aligned soul. Okay. So, and I'm on Facebook. I can't tell you what the whole website thing is. Just Aligned Soul Wellness. If you
They'll find you
up on Facebook.
Cool.
Well, so.
Amazing. Well, I'm so glad that we connected and had a chance to get to know each other. Maybe you a little bit more than me, because you have my chart. You'll have to send me your birth stuff too, and I can look up your Gene Keys, because I get a kick out of doing that too.
Yeah, I can for sure do that.
Awesome.
But it was great, yeah, to have this time and to meet you. And I thank Deidre
Yeah,
for
thanks,
I
Deidre.
met this woman. She's awesome. I told her about you. I was like, oh, great.
Yeah, she said the same. Connect. I'm like, I love connecting to other Gene Key fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Well, thanks. I hope you, if you're watching this, you enjoyed it, and go follow Jennifer and stay in the Flow Network sphere and see what unfolds. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, Jennifer.
Bye.